Okay, this church is the Church of Santa Maria del Giglio. One of the notable things about this church is apparently it has very old maps on the inside. That concept seems to be reflected in these carved reliefs. Also are these reliefs of early versions of some towns. Spalato, I don't know what that is. This, I'm guessing, is Corfu. Early Rome. Notice the Colosseum in the upper right. And the Vatican over to the left. This, I'm guessing, is Padua, or Padova as it's called today. This is the Church of San Stephen, more a benchmark for me in a navigation exercise than anything else. What you'll notice there, the true facade of brick. I'm on the outside of that church, Church of San Vitale. Very impressive facade, classical. I've been by this church several times in my mad rush from wherever I've been en route back up to the railroad station. This is an interesting church because it's in somewhat elongated square. None of the classic architectural elements or structural elements like aisles and that sort of thing. Allusion to aisles perhaps with the columns. The chapel's there on the side. It's interesting though because it's all white and bright. This is Palazzo Fraschetti. Kind of massive, kind of large, perhaps overly large, not so elegant arches. Don't know whether this grill work was original. I suspect it might not have been. But that would have been some loggia or unenclosed area that people could walk. Pretty doors, look like they might have been original. Here's the front of the Palazzo Fraschetti. And there in the background, a church. And this is the garden area that they had. Remember, space was a real premium. And this, I believe, is the bridge over to the Geremia, which I think is that large building behind the bridge. Everything is done with these hand brooms, curiously enough. Like South America for some curious reason. This is a gondola spot or drop-off point for this bridge. It may be wooden, but it looks like its superstructure is metal. This is one of the problems in Venice. When you want to go any place or get your groceries or something, you truck it up and down these stairs and over bridges and so forth. My strategy in the morning, which isn't terribly cost efficient, but I just take for €6.50 the ferry down to wherever it is I want. One of the museums. Tomorrow will be the Geremia, this building. And then I wander back on a different route. Okay, now that I've reached the Geremia, I'm now going along that street that goes from its lower left corner to the west. And I'll just follow this along for a while till I feel like comfortable about it, and then I'll start going due north so that I can go back up to the railroad and back to my place. Already I see something interesting coming up ahead. Across this body of water is the island of Giudecca. Giudecca, I think. And this is the church that I was walking up to as I got to the water. Some churches charge for tourists to go in. This pretty little church facade, notice the brick on the right, is Church of the something 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 Visitacion. Here they're doing one small concession to the tourists.